Same focus, same desire, same agenda. Are we together? Two hearts praying as one. Yes, praying as one and also pulling in the same direction. Welcome, this is Family Times, and that is the topic, two hearts praying as one. To spice this topic, two hearts praying as one, we have the Odukes, or you call them the Peters. It's been long since you guys came back.
Yeah, it is.
Welcome, and I would want you to introduce yourselves. Maybe Peter, introduce yourself, then introduce your wife.
Hello viewers, my name is Peter Oduk, and I am with my wife Tabitha Waithera today in this show.
Tabi, maybe you could say something so that we hear your voice and we also know that you can talk.
Hello viewers, my name is Tabitha Oduk.
Thank you, beautiful. Next to the Oduks, we have another Tabitha and Richard. I would almost saying another Tabitha and another Richard. Thank you so much for always giving words of encouragement, words of wisdom. Say hi to the viewer.
Hello viewer, welcome.
Hello viewer, welcome to the show. Please join us as we discuss our topic today.
Behind every successful husband is the husband. This is Linda, my wife. Linda, thank you for your support, not just in this show, but everywhere. I may not have the opportunity to say it, but thank you. Say hi to the viewer.
Hi viewer, thank you for always watching. May God bless you as we take on this again.
Thank you so much. Two hearts praying as one. And something that is coming into my mind when we talk about praying as one, you know, when we offer prayer to God, we are asking God, first of all, we thank Him. We ask Him to forgive us our sins. We ask Him to take care of our needs. What if these needs, my needs, are not Linda's needs? We are talking about two people who have come together and now they are praying together as one. So it means that whatever they are praying for is the same. What happens, Richard, in such a scenario? How beautiful is that scenario?
It's indeed very beautiful. There are two people who are married, think together, think in tandem, think the same way. Naturally, the way therefore becomes very clear in terms of where they want to go to. Yeah.
Tabi, is it possible?
Tabi who?
Oh, Tabi Richard. For the sake of our viewer, I will be referring to you as Tabi Richard and Tabi Peter.
I think for the sake of, Linda should change her name to Tabi Dave.
Tabi Dave.
Yeah, that's just a by the way. It's a good thing to pray together as a family. Do things together because that was God's way. But sincerely, because of the different challenges that we face, because of what the enemy has brought to us, we find that my way of thinking might not be his way of thinking. My, I mean, being visionary also is not the same, you know. So it can bring a challenge if we are not in the same line. Though we are supposed to be in the same line because we are married.
That's true.
Yes, it's a ministry. We all have the same goal. Yes.
Having the same goals, the same purpose, defines what we want to do together. You're a different person.
Right.
You're an individual, I'm an individual.
Correct.
We may have our own thinking.
Yeah.
But together we have same goals. And this is what I'm talking about. It's not
Meaning-
about me thinking differently.
Richard.
It is we thinking together.
Richard, meaning we need to have sat together so that we have this one goal.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah?
very true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very
Peter
true.
and Tabitha, what do you think? Do you subscribe to this goal? Okay, well, we are praying that we pray together.
Yes.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think the longest standing relationship is family, and marriage. You could have friends in school, it would only take 4 years.
Yes.
At the workplace, it couldn't take you 5 years.
Yeah.
But in a marriage, it takes you your lifetime. So you could begin a marriage where everyone has their own way of things.
Exactly.
But because you won, you have to bring all your goals into one.
Exactly.
It can take time for that to happen.
Yeah.
But because you have a oneness, you have a purpose which was designed by God, you have to work towards having that same purpose and praying together that all that you desire to have happens between the two of you, because you cannot avoid having that direction. Otherwise, you will lose track.
Yeah.
Tabi.
Yeah, I agree with Peter. After we came together and became one, I know we have different personalities, different goals, and different expectations. But
Yes.
once we start staying together,
Yes.
we have to think together, have the same goal that will lead us somewhere as a family. Like will help us get to another level together. So as a family, I'll always advise that it's good to have that prayer together, praying for the same goals, because I don't ever think if Peter will ever have a different goal that will not make us grow together.
I like that. I like
Yeah,
what
growth.
Tabitha is saying.
Yes.
Because,
Yes.
yes, we all have this same goal. But because I think differently, he thinks differently. We bring this together.
Sometimes it's not the same goal.
That's
Yeah,
what I'm saying. I bring it, or he brings it, we sit together and we agree. You understand?
Yeah.
But we might not all be in the same
we-
same time, same whatever.
For the sake
Yes.
for the sake of that that family,
Yeah.
that couple that is watching, how long have you guys been married?
What?
24 years.
4 years.
24 years.
Yeah.
You guys?
12.
12.
13 going to 15.
13.
More than, yeah,
I want you to be specific.
15.
Amen.
This
Kind.
this one that has just begun.
Yeah. Yes.
They have just begun.
Oh, yeah.
And remember, we are talking about two people who have come together from different backgrounds.
They definitely have challenges because they're getting to know each other. You know, when you're dating, it's different. You put
Yeah.
on your best foot, everything you know, Peter, can you remember when you're dating Tabitha? Everything Tabitha says is just
It
nice.
was beautiful.
Any dress she wears,
It was beautiful.
any food she makes, even if it's... But as you get to live
Reality
together,
dawns.
reality dawns. You realize, this is not the Tabitha, of course I mean myself, not you. This is not the Tabitha I thought. This is not the Richard I thought. Tabitha is thinking of life this way, and Richard is thinking of life this way. So it
Put
takes time.
Yes.
have an,
Put it this way.
Yeah,
Not that this is not the Richard I thought,
yeah.
because we have moved from that place. The
Yes,
Richard I
yes.
thought of then
Yeah.
was the Richard who was courting
Yeah.
me.
It's true.
So everything was okay. Everything was beautiful. We all loved it. Then we moved from that place of courting to the reality, as you mentioned.
And that is, yes.
Yes. Now
And
the
when you-
reality
Yeah.
is a joint thing.
Exactly.
It's not a separate thing. It's not like I'm
Now
thinking
this
it
is
from
when the
a
rubber
this
meets
place.
the road. Huh?
And let me pick from where Richard has just left.
Yeah.
Like you've now come together.
Yes.
When you come together, you have different weaknesses.
Yes.
And I'm coming to learn that Oduk has weaknesses that I never knew.
And
And now
strengths.
we are together. I have to fit in his weaknesses, and he has to fit in my weaknesses,
Yes.
so that we come together and reason together and agree that we're coming to a common ground where we'll now have the same goal and start praying for our goals as a family.
Yeah, I like it.
You
I like
wanted
that.
to...
Yeah, there's a friend of mine. I think they're just pulling apart because the lady is not visionary. Like the guy has bought land, and the guy is wishing that they settle there. But you see, the lady is imagining, if we go settle there, maybe we make a mabati structure, or we call it aluminium apartment. What will happen is that when my friends come to visit me, which picture will I be painting? So the lady has decided that they will just stay in town. So imagine,
well,
the guy is struggling, but the wife is pulling. So you can just imagine the tension that is in this house.
And that is exactly what we are talking about, two hearts praying as one. If I got her right, the man has bought, or the man bought a piece of land. And now he wants the family to move into this piece of land. And I don't know who said it, that setting your goals from the initial stage,
yes.
it may not be easy. Peter here will tell us that setting goals is not an easy thing. But then, that is now the scenario that we are in, and many other more, that I would want to invest in the stock market. Linda would want to put that money into maybe land or something like that.
Yeah.
How do we
And we
now
don't agree.
come into an agreement? Because at the end of the day, we will kneel down and pray as one. Now, how do I now put this prayer item before my God? I'm the one who is praying. She will pray tomorrow. She will pray for another thing. Today I'll pray for something else. Peter.
I think it begins by first identifying your family direction. What is it that we as a family want to work towards and pray towards? You see, sometimes men or women, somebody would just go buy land and think that that is the direction that all of them would go towards, because they believe that that land would be so valuable and is pleasing to the other partner. So without even discussing the purchase of land or the initial setup of that household, now the man would feel that this lady is not visionary. But they did not discuss this at the initial stage, so that they say, okay, we would want to buy a piece of land and it will take us 5 years to pay for it. 7 years down the line we could set up, but it has to, these goals have to merge. You have to bring your partner to understand that direction. So the art of persuasion is central to any marriage, so that your partner can understand your direction and you together agree on that direction. Even staying in that rental, if she manages to persuade you that there is warm water or hot water and it's enjoyable, you could still stay there until all of you, so that this particular issue should not make you part ways, because she is in that direction and she's in this direction. The thing is, couples need to sit down and agree and communicate what they want to achieve, not as an individual, but as a family. Otherwise, you'll be achieving your goals, the other person is achieving their goals, and you're living in the same household. At the end of the day, you'll have a lot of conflicts, and the family can tear apart. So we have to bring God into this, and God will bind us together in that direction,
And you know
and we
what,
can bring
Peter?
each other together.
What will tear marriages apart will never be big things. It
Absolutely.
is the simple things, like even just not communicating. You hear people parting ways because, oh, you know what, he bought a piece of land and he never told me. Or you know what, he transferred my child from this public school to private school. And you're thinking, I want your trouble. Because that is just mere communication. Communicate and say, hey, what do you think? If your spouse is that hard person that you cannot even communicate with, start by passing it in your conversation. Drop it when you're having your conversation.
You can recommend to the viewer that there is a topic about that we have in season 5, handling it while it is still small.
Exactly.
A very insightful one. Go on.
Yeah, so it starts small. You just start it in passing and see what your spouse thinks. You might start and then your spouse will be like, not a good idea. Then you have to ask God to give you more wisdom, because at the end of the day, you might be able to see what is ahead, but your spouse might not be able to.
Richard, what happens when your ideas are always not good ideas?
Of course, you get angry. I would just burst. In any case, as Tabitha just mentioned, my Tabitha suggested give it out as a suggestion. If there's difficulty in quick understanding between two people, this could be a good idea. Just suggest it. Suggest it more. The second and third time, probably on various situations and times. And when you suggest with a very clear purpose and direction. Linda has just mentioned that has a friend whose husband has bought land and the wife doesn't want to go there because the husband is going to do a mabati structure or something like that.
Yeah.
Or maybe this land
Yes.
is ancestral.
Yes.
And they happen to, it happens to be closer, not very, very close, but it's somehow
Yes.
closer to town.
Yes.
Yes, go on.
And then this partner is pulling to the other side, is not ready to go there.
Yes.
Because there are better houses there. It's good. That could be a good one. It depends on the people who are discussing it and agreeing or disagreeing. But eventually, it will be better that you have your own structure. Because economically and for many other reasons, you may not struggle on this one because it's made from yourself. It's your own. But if you have to go back to live in a rented house, you have to, face the issue of paying rents and there are many things which may come up. Your own would be better. It may be, initially it may be that mabati structure, but if you sit down and agree on how you're going to do it, 5 years down the line you have paid for the land, now we can start construction. And in the time that we're doing a construction for whatever you want to have, a house of your own style and whatever kind of thing you want to do there, you may still have to be living in a rented house. Yes.
Yeah.
And therefore, eventually we shall reach there.
And
Where?
what happens to a spouse, maybe one of the spouse is slow, or he doesn't see your objectives as a family is not also his or hers. How do you handle that?
In
Just
fact,
be
I wanted,
patient.
actually
Just be
wanted to
patient.
Because
ask the
also
same
time
question.
is also going,
Yeah.
time is also running out. If it's a project that we need to be looking at, and
What's the
him
example
or her
of
is
slow?
not even seeing, yeah?
What is the example of slow in this case?
Like in terms of maybe we are supposed to be building,
Yes.
but him is not even there. He's looking at something else.
Linda, okay,
Yeah.
I think I
Go
don't know
ahead
whether to
and
say
start building.
now, at times we know there could be so much going on between Dave and Linda that we might not know, right? So I'm here, for example, judging Linda. I'm thinking, Linda is supposed to be moving, going to even construct a structure. But deep down, Dave feels, you know what, we still don't have enough money, Or probably there are a few challenges in the village that you're not still ready to deal with. So, I mean, everybody has their own story. What you see as a priority, to me, might not be a priority. Linda might be like, Sabitha does not even live in the village, but the village is close to town. Probably I have enough money to pay rent for the next 2 years, very comfortable. So, I think people have different priorities in life, and whatever two people have decided, you only pray, provided they can agree. For me, that's...
It's easier
So what do you,
when they
how do
agree.
you help?
Yes.
It's much easier
Yes.
when people are in agreement.
Yeah.
Yes,
Because
yes.
it means the direction is clear, you will go together
Exactly.
in that direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Peter, but
Yeah.
okay. But
But when one person thinks differently,
Yeah.
Yeah.
to the extent that the other one is considered to be slow,
That's not right.
it really smacks of trouble.
Yeah.
It is sincerely trouble straight away because
God will help a village.
your refusal here is because it's about being slow. It's not about the capability. You have it.
maybe
Yes.
the other spouse is not reading from the same script and
Exactly.
therefore
Definitely
concluding
they're not.
that
Yeah.
you're slow.
Yeah.
Definitely they're not. Yeah.
Thank you. I think the thing is, we're talking about a script. Let the family write script
It's
nice.
honestly and
That's
sincerely
Yeah.
on everything they want to
Yes.
do. So that if one is slow, they'll know this part of the script. I'm slow because of one or two things, because
Yes, what's
things
the
also
reason?
change in the process of decision making.
yes.
You could have decided that we are going to take our child to this school,
Right.
but along the way, you get some information about that school. and you
change.
decide otherwise.
Yeah.
So always, every change requires communication.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, if you have been able to persuade someone to come and
Stay
you
with
stay together, why would it be difficult for you to persuade them that to take your child to some school, or to buy a dress rather than a pair of shoes? Sometimes it's our own egos and our own selfishness that make it difficult for us
Yes.
to pursue the same goal and pray for the same goal.
Yeah.
So I am stuck on my lane and thinking this lane is the best lane.
No one does
The other
that, but
person
let
now says,
go.
if that is the best lane,
Then
therefore I'm not
even
going with you if my lane is
yeah.
not. So
Yes.
there must be a sense of compromise at the end of the day.
Yes.
And then maybe it depends, if especially if it's young families, you find that the lady is still stuck, like background, you know. This is how we do it in my home. This is how my family
And that's
does
so
it.
difficult.
So you expect to drag everything that you're doing in your family here, which is not really, okay, it could be good and bad. But once you're together as a family, you need to sit together and agree.
Tabi, are there decisions that you've had to recede for the sake of peace?
Many, so many, and sometimes I think about it and say, I can't put my interest first.
Yeah.
What should come first is my family's interest. It's not about me. It's no longer about me.
Yes.
From the day I got married, it's not about me anymore. It's about
Yeah, you
him,
need
it's
to
about
do-
our children, it's about what binds us together. So if I can choose to do something that will really tear us apart, then I've lost it. So I always think about it and I was like, okay, I have to like let it go or let it slide for the sake of peace between me and him, because any time when there's no peace in our home, we can't do anything. All our goals are, we can't do anything.
And
So
you can't grow.
we can't grow in whichever the areas
Yeah.
we have to grow. So I have to make peace come first.
Thank you.
Peace.
Wonderful.
Peace. There are things that, and that is why I asked Tabi. I could also ask Linda, are there some things that you had to give up for the sake of peace? Decisions that you have made, plans, objectives, but because I am probably a hardliner, because I want to be, I mean, you would want to be the people to make the
And you know-
Yeah,
the
to call the
decision. You know,
shots.
And you know, Dave, when
Yes.
there's no peace in that home, definitely
You can't
people-
pray
we
together.
can't pray together.
Meaning
Because
that
once
when there's
I'm
no
mad
prayer-
at him and he's
Yeah.
mad at me, definitely we'll all pray separately, which
Yeah.
is
You may
not
not
our
Because
even
they
pray.
always say more prayer, more power. Less prayer,
less power.
less power. Meaning when there is no prayer there, also the devil is going to take chance there, so that he makes sure that he really destroys you. Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah. So, Tabi, peace. You love peace?
Oh, who doesn't?
What would you do for the sake of peace?
I would do anything and everything, including praying and talking about it, and finding ways, even if it's books that I have to read to give me more ideas, I will do
I
that.
will also add on that,
Yes.
by wanting my home to have peace, I have to learn his likes and his dislikes.
Yeah.
So that by the time I do something else, does Peter like this? Eh?
How is it going to
If
be?
he doesn't like it at all, for sure I'll not do it, so that we may enjoy that peace. in our
We
home.
are talking about two hearts praying as one, and we realize that apart from going down on our knees and sending our supplication to God, there are also other things that we need to pray for. Can you imagine? Your spouse is praying for salary increment, and you're praying for him to get a transfer
To lose a job.
or to get another job, whose prayer is going to be answered first. Assume that the two of you are praying over the same thing. That is two praying for one thing. Don't you think
Which
it
one
is
is-
stronger
Yeah.
than praying differently?
And
This is where we are,
And
two hearts
easier.
praying as one. We are taking a short break. Richard, I'll bring you in after this break. Take a breather. We are coming back.
Does the 21st century man understand what it means to be a man? Take a look at society today. Where are the men? Where are the men who stand for integrity and truth? Where are the men who lead their families to Christ, who provide for them and protect them? Are you that man?
The ladies have no problem with submission. The problem is, to what are you submitting? you can't submit to a vacuum.
Most of the affairs start with emotional connections.
When you are making a choice on morality, don't bargain. As the 21st century man, we need to realize that we avoid this reactive kind of approach.
Watch the 21st century man. Join the conversation about what it means to be a man in this day and age. 21st century man, from his perspective, coming soon on Hope Channel Kenya.
Welcome back. Two hearts praying as one. And just before we went for the break, we looked at how two people can pray together. It is important to pray, and it is more important to pray together.
Yes.
Because when you pray together, that is two against one. But if you are praying over different things, then I don't know whose prayer is going to be answered. And we want to ask you again, our viewer, please give us your feedback. Our hashtag is Family Times. Just go there. And there are many other episodes that we have talked about in this Family Times. So you can log into our YouTube channel, HCK, and you're going to get them. I'm sure you'll be blessed. But welcome back to Two Hearts Praying as One. Richard, there is this couple that is praying over the same thing. Then this other one is a bit divided.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think that those who pray together and for the same thing would do better than those who pray apart or praying for two different things, three or even more, differently, different things. Not really differently, but different things. Because we can pray apart and we pray for the same thing but differently. That's still acceptable. But when my goal, my purpose for prayer is different from hers, especially on a matter that we should work together with, then that is subject to leading to a lot of conflicts and disagreements. Because we are pulling apart and differently. And therefore, my prayer and her prayer are not strong enough. If it was a matter of putting things together so that we look at the strength, I believe that would make our prayers rather weaker. Because the same God you're asking for this favor is the same God you're asking for another favor. At the same time, we should actually talk about one, ask for one favor. There sometimes I wonder, probably we are never brought up well to understand what marriage is about. To the extent that we are not advised, we are not taught, we are not directed well before we get married. Why? Getting married is not a very simple thing. It's not just about deciding because we have been dating very well, now let's just go get married. And we probably don't talk about many issues in our marriages because they haven't come. They are still away from that place where we need to look at them. But anyone would want to put his mind or her mind in a certain direction and hope that both of you can embrace the same. So that you move together, step after step, one after another, so that you have a very clear direction. I want my child to go to Migosi SDA. I have reasons for that. And Tabitha may ask, why? I think God has blessed us enough. We can take our children to Makini. I said, Tabitha, that's all right. Makini, Migosi, all schools, sawa. But here, my purpose is because my child will be within a school whose faith I actually follow. He will be taught in the levels of what SDS believe.
That is now reasoning together.
That's reasoning. She may have an opinion. She may like another school. That's okay. But if we discuss that, I explain why I think the school A is better than B for this reason or that the other reason, then we shall come to an agreement. And we shall move together then. It will be easier for her to pick our son or child's hand and walk
I think
or
just
him to
give
school.
them, that is something that really happened to us.
Yes.
Yeah,
No,
there's a
it's
time.
practical.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, there's a time we had to change, our son had to change school, and he looked for this expensive school, and I'm like, are you serious? Where are we going to get the money? Then he asked me, why are you saying that? I said, it's expensive. Then he asked me, compared to? So when he sat me down and looked at the fee that we were paying in this school and whatever we were going to pay was almost the same. So at times, because we are not exposed, we are not so sure of, we hear so many things that we believe what we hear without confirming. So at times we might have different ideas, but because we have not known the truth, it becomes hard. When we wanted, real quick, when we wanted to also go to the village,
Yes, yes.
it was like, okay, do we
It wasn't a straightaway agreement.
do we or do we not? He wasn't
prayed about
ready.
it?
I wasn't ready.
He
to
wasn't
go.
ready.
Oh.
But in my heart of hearts, I was like, we're moving.
It's,
And-
it's
and David-
under normal
And pray.
circumstances, it's always
It
the
was
other way
difficult.
around.
It was very difficult.
He wasn't
To
ready.
the extent that when the construction started back in the village, I wasn't even there.
Okay.
But we came to find some very good ground where
Yes.
agreement was reached. And tell you what, I'm happy.
What do you say? Oh, I was almost asking you, what do you say now?
Yes.
You're happy.
There's
There is something that you've mentioned,
Yes.
and I just don't want it to move away.
Yes.
Marriage,
that's what I
someone
wanted to
described
say.
marriage. Okay, go ahead and then.
I wanted to comment on what Richard has said, that when we are marrying, sometimes we come in with another, I don't know, aspect or some notion. Like you see,
Yes.
I've come to live with Dave.
Yes.
My space, I will have to accommodate him.
Yes.
And he will have to accommodate me.
Thank you.
But
Yeah.
sometimes you see, I go in there, I want my space still there. I want to live as I was single. So sometimes that one, even trying to pray as one, will not even come by.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think when we get married, know that you'll have to accommodate this other person. You'll have to accept him in your space. So that when you accept him into your space, know that there are things that you'll have to agree as one. Maybe I have to drop mine to accept it in the basis of communication and reasoning and seeing which one is the best way to go.
Our minds just read from the same script. That is two hearts praying as one. Let me just add. Okay.
And Dave, just to add on what Linda has just said, like when people, by the time they were dating, and now we are getting to a stage where we are agreeing we are going to stay together. I think there's that stage whereby me and Peter had to sit down and agree, what are the goals that we have?
What do we want?
What do you want,
Yes.
Peter?
Yeah.
And he was like, and you, Tabby, what do you want?
Thank you.
Then we had to agree
What 5
and
children?
like prioritize
Want
our
to-
goals.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like which
Exactly.
should come first.
Realities.
And I can remember at some point when we wanted to buy a piece of land, we were like, was it the right time for us to do that? And we had to forsake other things. We had to leave our comfort, go stay in the village and so many things because that place is still a village. So we had to think about all those things. And after we arranged in our goals in terms of priority, it really minimized the conflict in our home. Because we now came to realize that this is what we should do first. When we get a piece of land, what next do we need? We now
Yes.
need a car, we now need this,
Yeah.
we now need this, we now need this. And by doing that, it really helped us to like work on the same goal.
Yes.
And
Pray
it
on
helped us even start praying on the same goals. Like me and him, we started, now we have to pray for that land. Now we have to pray for this. We have to pray for this. And don't think that along the way that there's so many things that keep coming
come
up.
up, yeah.
He'll go
Yeah.
somewhere and like come back and tell me, Tabby, see, I want this thing done. And I'll like question him. I thought we had agreed we were going to do this and this.
Yeah.
What do you think? And he's
Yeah.
like, no, it's good. our goal still stands, but this one has just come up, and we have to do it.
Of course.
So we sit down and agree and like, okay, Peter, we're going to do this, but now what next? Now we need to pray for finances, because now that's where finances come in. We start asking ourselves, are we ready to do this? Do we have the enough finances to like keep our goal and also achieve what has just come up? And after agreeing on all that, we're like, now we have to pray to God to provide the finances and give us peace as we focus.
He would provide.
Peter, I know when you have a strong point.
Yeah, indeed.
This is the time.
You see, praying together is a recognition that the marriage triangle, where God is the center. So praying together is a recognition that you cannot do anything on your own until you bring Christ into it. So even when you're setting those goals, your eyes should be on Christ.
Amen.
So that it's Christ that whatever direction you want to take, because sometimes we take direction towards things that lead us into losing our direction as Christians. One would be like if I was to change my job or get a new job. And my focus is that this new job is going to get me more salary. Without seeing that God has brought us together, that we can raise our children together without having to go to Dubai or another place. So God can bless you with that small thing that looks small in terms of finances, but it's so big in terms of you raising your family and you being together and praying together. Because I believe if you're too far apart, sometimes it's not really a nice experience. But the thing is, viewers, is that sometimes we have our own views of life, but we have to center it on Christ so that he can enable us to see what direction are we taking. If we leave him out of any decision that we make, any goal that we make, then that goal will not lead us into the right direction. Actually, it can benefit us in terms of worldly acquisitions, but it will make us lose our focus on Christ. So when she said that some decisions are tough, and I believe that sometimes the mistakes we make in making these decisions humbles us and makes us learn and say, really, I should have listened to my wife on this. So sometimes you go ahead and make your own decision, but along the way, it humbles you.
It does.
It backfires on you.
Actually, somebody said today, I think it's a meme or a quote, that is one of the things that he has done is that he's ate his own humble pie. And he's realized it's so sweet to eat your humble pie sometimes because it gets you to refocus.
Back on track.
Center is Christ. Otherwise, all your goals that you set without Christ will not lead you to any
Especially
place.
when we are talking, like Christian families, like the center of our family should be Christ. And so when we are setting goals, we should ask ourselves first, will it draw me closer to Christ, or is this just a goal to help me acquire the worldly?
It is also at this point that we want to recommend, even to that non-Christian family, we want to recommend God, because if he's at the center, then it forms that triangle.
Without let me add a point
the
there.
third person, there is no triangle.
At times, it reaches a point in marriage that we differ so much, and it's only God at the center who holds us. So you can imagine the person who doesn't have God, what happens? So sometimes we really need God. In everything that we do, for him to unite us. In as much as we will differ at times, but there's that peace, that centerpiece that always holds us.
Dave, I want to add something.
Yes.
Isn't it fun to also plan together and also fail together?
It is.
Yes, it's a learning process.
It
It is.
It's beautiful.
Exactly,
because you see, you are right. Because we are not just sitting here saying that whatever we plan together must succeed.
Yes.
It is beautiful.
Yes.
That is what he's saying, that it is sweeter when...
To eat your
humble.
humble pie.
Yes.
Yes. So what I'm trying to say is this. It doesn't mean that everything you put together to, for example, even if it's a project or whatever, will always succeed. One day you look back and you'll be like, remember when we planned for this and it did not work? So it is not for you to blame this other spouse who brought up this idea and say, you see,
You're
you're the
co-owning.
one who brought up this idea. Look at how much money we wasted. No, this is a learning
Or
experience.
how miserable we failed.
Huh?
Yeah, let me just add to this.
Yeah.
You know, it is better to fail together
Yes.
than to succeed alone
Yes.
in a marriage situation.
Wisdom
Yes.
detected.
Detected.
Yeah, because failing together means that you will hold your hands
Right.
together.
Yes.
But
You
succeeding
will
alone
emerge stronger.
than succeeding alone. If you succeed alone, you'd be like you're on your own path.
The other partner feels
you
intimidated.
Kind of reach some level
Yeah.
where you consider yourself with your success
Greater.
higher than the
the
person
other.
who is below.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You start looking down upon the other.
Right.
Start looking
I also
down.
want
And
to
when
add
that
something.
factor, and when that factors in a relationship,
There's no
it's-
relationship.
There's
there.
no relationship.
I also want to
there.
add something that in praying together as one, it doesn't mean it's only the husband and the wife.
Right.
If you also have kids there, tell them today we have a prayer item. This is
Correct.
what we want. Imagine even if the kids will grow knowing that we need to be praying together, it is stronger and it is like God hears the prayers of so many. We're also calculating something in them. So when we're also praying together as parents, we need to involve the children. Don't assume, tell them today our prayer item is this, you're going to pray for this one until it happens. Then they also enjoy it when God answers prayers. Yeah.
Richard, you have been endeavoring and struggling to make a point.
I
But
just-
before you say that,
Yes.
again, I want you to emphasize this. Marriage, someone said that marriage is a school where you receive a certificate before
graduation.
you begin the school. We have mentioned here,
Yes.
and remember I asked how long you guys have been married, for the sake of that couple that is just into just getting into this, and they are trying to now set up plans and goals and all that, but they are not agreeing. So 24 years
Yes.
later,
Yes.
do you regret having made those plans?
No. And to some
And
extent,
as,
yes.
as you say that,
Yes.
you may also mention why on both sides.
Yes.
Yes.
I just want to give a practical example here between me and Tabitha. God blessed us with a son. And the time came when we thought that the best thing to do is to fly overseas for our own family and looking for worldly issues so that we could have more, we could be more grounded, financially, of course.
Yep.
And we decided that we were going to do that and left our son home with my aunt, my parents, and we agreed and we went away for years, working hard, make ends meet, looking for success, studying, trying to do everything to better ourselves. Then at a certain point in our discussion as a family, we came to an agreement that let's look back. We have a child from this marriage. Where is he? Where are we? We are far apart. We thought as parents that we have to go back, come back for this boy. She left what she was doing for 8 good years. I left what I was doing for 5 years. And we all agreed, let's go back. Came back to our son so that we could bring him up with God's help in the manner we thought and we felt was the best. We left everything, came back for him. Now we are with him and we are not regretting. There are issues left, right, and center where I can point and say, oh, when I was doing that, when I was there, life was better. But life is better without that. When it is this is what it is. That means that we had our own thinking and we were thinking together. Nobody just left without the other one agreeing. We agreed and we saw each other. I saw her to the airport taking a plane, and I was there with the son, and we said bye. We are hoping to meet you again. Our dream was we were going to meet you there. You are not even going to come back to us. But as we lived our lives apart, we came to realize that we have a goal. Because we are parents, God has blessed us. So we have to think about where we're coming from. Let this boy, let this child be with us, whatever the place, whichever the way. And we agreed. And this is where we are, with him. And we are together again. Leave everything else. Let's go back and sort it out. So what I'm saying is, as much as getting married means we are getting a certificate before we have lived, there are failures and successes within the same which do not qualify before you are married.
Okay.
So it's not just enough to get a certificate and you're told, put it in your husband's lab, whatever it is, what place you call it. We put it up there, in our big coats when we are getting married, dressed well and everything. You haven't lived with it, you haven't learned. Success, or at the end of it, to me, is a matter of going to the ground in the 6 foot grave. That is when you can now look back and say, I was successful.
Okay.
Thank you.
Peter and Tabitha, looking back, what are some of the things that you would consider as achievement, so to speak, in working together? What have you achieved? What have you gained?
I think as a family, what we've gained by setting up our own goals together, besides the worldly things, is the ministry we're involved in church. Some of us came from from different environments. When I say different, you may understand. But we decided that we have to make a decision to be Christians and to raise our children in that manner. Despite the challenges of life, of course, Christ overcomes any challenge. So that for us is an achievement. If I look back before I got married and the decisions we made after we got married, particularly by her support, I see that as an achievement. Two, even in the worldly perspectives, if we hadn't set goals together, we'll be dragging each other. She'll be dragging me this way, I'll be dragging her this way if it's my direction. When we get to that direction, we change direction because now it's her direction. But because we create a path that you can drift out of the path a little, because life sometimes drifts you out of the path, but you remain focused on the path. There's something we call your eyes on the ball. When your eyes on the ball, whether you're number 7 or number 3, at the end of the day, you are looking at the ball. So if you set that goal and that is the ball you are pursuing, and this is what has happened to us in many perspectives. She has a different ministry, I have a different ministry, but the thing is we are focused on the ministry of salvation. Even our life as it is, what we have agreed is that we can hardly live far apart from each other. Sometimes when you try it for a few months, it doesn't work because we know that has a potential to drift us off the goal.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I want us to wrap it up, and I want us to now talk to our viewer. What would be your final words? I will start with the Tabbies, but I would start with Tabby Richard.
We need to, dear viewer, we need to look up to Jesus. Challenges will come. Time does not matter how long it takes for you to sit down with your spouse to agree, because it will not be just giving out your idea and it working. At times it might work, at times it might not work, but that should not distract you.
Thank you.
Keep on believing and keep on praying together.
Thank you. Tabby?
Viewers, family is beautiful. Wow. Sometimes things may not go as planned, but never lose focus. Always allow Christ to be the center of everything, and we'll be able to achieve every other goal that we've set.
Thank you. Peter?
Two hearts praying together. It takes Christ for that to happen. because obviously you are two different individuals, but you can pray together if you know the purpose for which you are created, and that is to worship God. So in every goal, in every decision that you're making, put God first on it. Pray together so that He can enable you to achieve that goal.
Thank you. Richard?
Yes, I cannot overstate it. Life is beautiful when you have Jesus, when it is directed by Jesus, when it is in the hands of Jesus, when Jesus abounds with you. Viewer, you cannot put away that, because God is the author of marriage, and therefore He has a book that can be followed, can be read, and can be very directing. Therefore, don't let that go away from where it is. Keep it close to Jesus, and everything will work for you.
Amen.
Thank you.
Linda?
Dear viewer, 2 and above is better than 1. God is able to help you. Just keep on keeping on and pray to God. He'll always deliver you.
Thank you.
It is true that you will, or you may never agree on everything. Sometimes you'll not even agree on the color of the car that you want to buy. Sometimes you may not even agree on the make. And so you have to compromise. You have to give in something. Look at the good things that will come. These people are here talking about the good things that they have seen 12, 24, 15 years into it. This is what we are talking about. Two hearts praying as one. Thank you so much, Peter and Tabitha, for coming. We are hoping that you come again so that we can talk more. Thank you, Tabitha and Richard, and thank you, our dear viewer, for always listening and for your feedback. Thank you so much. God bless you, and stay tuned for the next episode.